Good morning, guys. So you had two-step equations yesterday in math. I live with the math teacher, so I know what's going on, even though I'm quarantined. So just remember that, okay? During this video, if you have questions or you need to get something written down, just tell Miss Bailey or the sub to pause, and they will be glad to do it. If you have a question, make sure that you raise your hand. Do not blurt out. Raise your hand. And you need to say, hey, I don't get this, okay? And we can rewind, pause, fast forward, whatever we need to do during this video, okay? And I am available during the day, so if you want to shoot me an email, you can. That's perfectly fine. And during first period, if we need to Google Meet, then I can be casted to Google Meet, okay? So just make sure that you are staying current and you're doing your work, okay? Be on your best behavior. So let's go ahead and get started with our two-step equations, okay? The first thing that you always want to do is draw your party line. That's the purple line that I drew, okay? I call that the party line because what happens on one side always wants to happen on the other, so we're throwing a party for both people, okay? The next thing you need to remember is you take care of the number without the letter attached to it first, okay? So for number 1, that's our 4. We always do the opposite. So the opposite of plus 4 is going to be a minus 4. So what I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other. I gotta turn my pen on, sorry guys. Malfunctions. Okay, so what I do to one side, I'm gonna do to the other. So there's my minus 4 to both sides. Alright, this side is gonna cancel it out. Then we are left with 56 minus 4 is going to give me 52. We bring everything else that we did not use down. Okay, this is saying negative 4 times n equals 52. So we're going to take care of getting that 4 away from the n. So what is the opposite of multiplication? I hope you told yourself in your head division, because that is what you were supposed to do. So we're going to divide by negative 4 on both sides. This side cancels out. We're left with n on this side. And what is 52 divided by negative 4? I hope you said 13 in your head. That should be mental math right there. Mental math, okay? So when you divide a positive number by a negative number, you have two different signs. So when we do two different signs, that means that your number is negative. So make sure that you attach that negative with that 13, okay? And when in doubt, when you type it in on your calculator, make sure you have the signs correctly or you're going to get the wrong answer, okay? Moving on to number 2. Here we go. All right. So number 2, notice how I already did my party line. What happens on one side, we always do on the other side, okay? Your first step needs to be to take care of your number without the variable, meaning the letter, okay? So in this case, it's negative 10 because I always include the sign in front of the number. What's the opposite of negative 10? I hope in your head you just said plus 10. What we do to one side, we always do to the other because both sides need to party, okay? 10 plus 10 equals 20. And we bring everything else down that we did not use. We are left with 5n equals 20. This 5n is saying 5 times n. So what's the opposite of multiplication right here? Division. So we're going to divide both sides by 5. This cancels out. You're left with n equals 20 divided by 5 equals 4. Both of these are positive numbers, so your answer is positive. All right, moving on to number 3. Do not let this scare you. This is just a fraction, okay? Don't let it scare you. All right, so the first step that you should be telling yourself in your head right now is to take care of the number without the variable. So what we do to one side, we do to the other, because there's my party line. I got it drawn. Our number that we're dealing with is a negative 8. What's the opposite of a minus 8? I hope you just said in your head a plus 8. What we do to one side, we always do to the other, because both sides got a party, okay? I'm going to say that probably to get on your nerves, and I'm okay with that, all right? So, we cancel that 8 out. Then we have 1 plus 8. That equals 9. We bring everything else down that we have not used. Okay? This is saying A divided by 2. So what is the opposite of division? I hope you said in your head just then, multiplication, because that's what it is. So we're going to multiply both sides by 2. And I know that Coach Sparkman uses dots, but I wanted to show y'all that it's saying times, okay? So this cancels out. We're just left with A equals 9 times 2. 9 times 2 is 18. That should have been mental math for you. Both of those are positive numbers, so your answer is positive. Same signs always equal positive. Remember that. All right, number 4. All right, notice how I already have my party line drawn. Whoop, whoop. Party on both sides, okay? Here we go. So our whole number is dealing with a minus 1. What is the opposite of a minus 1? It is a plus 1. What we do to one side, we always do to the other. 7 plus 1 equals 8. We bring everything else down. B over 2. And I know why y'all give Coach Sparkman such a hard time about his writing on this thing, because it's really hard. So just bear with me, okay? So we're left with 8 equals B over 2. This is just saying B divided by 2. What's the opposite of division? It's multiplication. So we're going to multiply both sides by 2. And again, I know that Coach Sparkman does the dots, but I want to show y'all that this is multiplication, okay? This side cancels out. We're left with B. And we're left with 2 times 8, which is 16. Both of those numbers are positive, so you're left with B equals 16. All right, moving on to number 5. Notice how I already have my party line. Okay. We're going to take care of our whole number. And what we do to one side, we do to the other. So, in this case, our whole number is negative 3. What's the opposite of negative 3? It's going to be a positive 3. What we do to one side, we do to the other. This side crosses out. We are left with negative n on this side. Negative 8 plus 3. That's just like saying 8 minus 3. That's 5. What number is bigger in this case? Is an 8 or a 3 bigger? An 8 is bigger. Well, what sign is in front of that 8? We have a negative in front of that 8. So your answer is going to be negative. Okay? This is saying a negative understood 1, n, equals negative 5. So this negative 1 is just saying times n. What's the opposite of multiplication? It's division. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 1. You are left with n equals negative 5 divided by negative 1. And so a negative divided by a negative is going to be a positive, and you're just going to get a positive 5. And that is your answer. Moving on to number 6. Notice how I already have my party line. All right, our whole number is, you should say plus 9. I hope that's what you said, okay? So the opposite of plusing 9 is going to be minusing 9. We do that to both sides. This side crosses out. 145 minus 9 equals, I hope you said in your head, or you were figuring it up at least, 136. We bring down what we haven't used yet, negative 8v. This is saying negative 8 times v. So what is the opposite of multiplication? It is division. So we're going to divide by negative 8 on both sides. This side cancels. We're left with v equals 136 divided by negative 8 equals negative 17. I know that that one is not mental math, okay? So, I was your calculator on that one, okay? All right, moving on to number 7. Here we go. Right, so notice how I already have my party line. We're dealing with with the whole numbers first. So our negative 2 is the whole number without the variable. What is the opposite of negative 2? It's going to be plus 2 to both sides. This side cancels. We're left with negative 10r equals negative 62 plus 2. So this is saying 62 minus 2 essentially, okay? We know 62 minus 2 is going to be 60. But which number is bigger? Is 62 or 2 bigger? I hope you're telling yourself 62 is bigger. So what sign is in front of 62? A negative. So we got to make sure we include that negative, okay? We're left with negative 10r equals negative 60. We need to do the opposite of multiplication. That is, I hope you're telling yourself division in your head. We're going to divide both sides by negative 10. What we do to one side, we always do to the other because we have got to party for both sides. We can't leave anybody out, okay? So we have negative 60 divided by negative 10. That is, this should be mental math, okay? 60 divided by 10 is going to be 6. Both of these are negative numbers, so we know our answer is positive because they have the same sign. We have the same sign, your answer is always going to be positive. Moving on to number 8. Even though, okay. Oh. Here we go. Notice how I already have my party line. I'm going to make it a little bit longer. Okay. So we are taking care of our whole number first. I know that Coach Sparkman mentioned that you do not like it to be set up this way. I've already started solving the ones from earlier, so I apologize. But I'll go ahead and switcheroo everything around for you on this one. Okay. So we have 6r plus 10 equals negative 92. I just switched that equation around, okay? Still has all the same terms, all the same signs, because our 6r and our 10 are positive. They're both positive on the left side, but our 92 is negative, so I carried that negative 92 over with it, okay? So we take care of our whole number first. We're going to subtract 10 because that is the opposite of plus 10. Negative 92 minus 10. So this is adding 92 and 10 together, which is going to give you 102. Both sides are negative, so our number is going to be negative. We're left with 6r. 102 divided by 6 equals 17. So our 6 times r, we do the opposite, which is division. Negative 102 divided by 6 is 17. We have a negative number and a positive number. So they're different signs. So that means our answer is negative. And that is your answer for number 8. Moving on to number 9. I already have my party line. And it is set up the way we like it to be set up, with our variable on the left side of the party. So we take care of our whole number. What is the opposite of minus 6? I hope you're saying plus 6 in your head. Okay? You should be talking in your head during this because you're going to get better only by just repeating. Okay? Get these steps down. I cannot tell y'all enough. Get these steps down because they are crucial to the rest of your math career. Okay? So 154 plus 6 is 160. And we bring everything else down. This is saying 8 times k. So we do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. we're going to divide 8. This side cancels out. We're left with k equals 160 divided by 8 equals 20. Both of these are positive numbers, so your answer is going to be positive. All right. And this is the last one that I'm going to do with y'all, number 10. And the reason I'm only doing half of it with you is because I want you to do the other half by yourself and get these steps down. And if you have a question, you need to ask. Okay? So let's get our variables and our numbers set up how we like it first. Okay? So I'm going to move the variables over to the left side. I'm just going to carry the k over 3 plus 7 equals 9. Okay, our k over 3 was positive. I kept it positive. Our plus 7 is positive, so I just carried it on over. And then our 9 was positive, so I just let it equal 9 on the other side. You can switch those around to make sure that your variable is on the left side. Okay, we're going to take care of our whole number first, which is our plus 7. So what is the opposite of plusing 7? We're going to be subtracting 7. This side cancels out. We're left with k over 3 equals 9 minus 7, which is 2. All right. You're left with k divided by 3 equals 2. This is saying k divided by 3. So the opposite of dividing is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. This side cancels out. You're left with k equals 2 times 3 equals 6. Both of those are positive numbers, so you're left with k equals 6. Alright, I'm going to leave the rest for you to do on your own right here, right now. If you already did it, great job. I'm glad you did your homework. You should get a piece of candy. Okay, if Miss Bailey is in there, you can let her give you a piece of candy from my candy stash. Okay, or if the sub is in there, tell Miss Bailey that, hey, I did my homework. Get the sub to write down your name and then say, hey, I get candy because I did my homework for Miss Sparkman when she sent out the remind yesterday for me, okay? Make sure that you are staying up to date and current on all your classes, okay? And make sure that you are being a good person and you are making good choices, all right? If you have a question, be sure to ask. Don't just sit there and just say, oh, well, they're not back until the 10th and the 16th, so I don't really have to do anything until they get back. No, you're going to do your stuff. Okay? Stop it, Easton. Tell everybody, hey, Easton.
Hi.
Say, do your work. You don't want to. Okay. All right, so that was a note from Easton, all right? Y'all have a good day. I hope that y'all are staying safe, staying warm. If y'all need anything, please shoot me an email. We can set up a Google Meet. See y'all.